Your Tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker.
Then I'll see you in hell.
What's going on, guys? Today we got something we haven't done in a little bit. It's a Lego Star Wars review. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I love these things. So today we got Lego Star Wars set 75298, AT-AT versus Tauntaun Microfighters. So basically what a microfighter is if you can obviously tell, like, this AT-AT is micro scaled. The Tauntaun, though, so why this set is actually really cool to me. It's pretty much a 1-to-1 scale. It's not really that off. It might be, if anything, a little bit big. So this is actually a pretty good set. If you want to build like a little Hoth setup, you got some pretty good pieces. You can maybe have this be like a background piece. And then also you got these two awesome minifigs right here. You got the Luke Skywalker and the AT-AT driver. This Luke Skywalker, I believe, is actually exclusive to this set. I'm sure it might be released in a future set down the line. But if you want this figure right now, this minifig, the only way you can get it, I believe, is this set right here. So this is a 205-piece set that retails for about $19.99. Maybe if you can find it on sale, you can get it for a little bit less. If you buy it online, maybe a little bit more. Who knows? But that's what it should be, $205 for $19.99, which is a really good deal. You always want to get more than 10 pieces per cent or 10 cents per piece. I forget the math on that, but you know what I'm saying. And this is just a really good set. The only complaint I have is these blasters that these sets tend to give you with the stud shooters. We know that Lego can make an actual real replica of a blaster. I actually have a few. Maybe I'll compare later on in the video. But other than that, I mean, you really can't go wrong. You get a couple awesome figures. You get really cool, highly detailed microfighters, an almost 1-to-1 scale Tauntaun. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So it'll be a good video. Before we continue on here, let's just take a look at these manuals. We got manual number 1, which is the AT-AT. There's all your steps. It looks like it's going to be about 50 steps, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, give or take. Here's all the pieces. I always wondered if you could just go to a Lego store and buy all these pieces and recreate it. These are my favorite parts of the manuals right here, the little back where you can see the actual sets that are out. We got the TIE Fighter, we got a Microfighter, Millennium Falcon, the X-Wing. Some pretty good stuff right now. Here's a closer look at all the minifigs you get, which is very cool. And then we have this preview for Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, which should have been released about a year ago by now, and they still have zero word on when that's coming. So yeah, these manuals are actually really, really cool to me. There's the Tauntaun with the Luke. Oh, and this one actually doesn't have the stuff in the back like that one does. So I guess you really do want both these manuals. Here's a nice little picture on the back. So yeah, guys, I can't wait to build these and then review them. All right, guys, so I just finished the builds. They were great builds. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to do both, not individually, like combined, which is very typical for me, at least for sets this big. I find that it's about 20 to 30 minutes, you could say, per 100 pieces. We had 205, so that's right on pace for me. Everything was really surprising. I liked it again. Lego always does a really good job. So I'll just take the time to look at each one of these microfighters individually, talk about the build process. Then we'll look at the little minifigs and just give you guys an overall idea of what this set's all about. So to start us off, we're going to be looking at the AT-AT with the AT-AT driver minifigure. I'll put the minifigure to the side right over here for now. We'll look at the minifigures and their accessories later on in the video. But to start off with just this microfighter build right here, I think they did a very good job. The build itself was very tight, very close, right in like this middle section right here, which I really like. They were able to fit a lot of little pieces in there. This one is about, the entire box is 205 pieces, so this is about 100 pieces, give or take. And they did a really good job with that limited amount of pieces to give you the actual feel of an AT-AT. You got the 4 legs, each one can move. They're on a little swivel hinge, and then you got these bottom half of the feet. The head swivels, which gives you a really nice range of motion to like kind of give you that AT-AT look when it's looking down. It looks like it's actually being manned, shooting down on like Rebel base on Hoth or something. And the build itself was really good, so everything was nice and tight, especially through this area right here of where you actually put the little minifigure. There are no studs in there that hold the minifigure in place. It's just that little T-piece, which goes right in between the minifigure's legs, and he's very secure in there. He's not going anywhere. He comes right out nice and smooth, so it's a really good building process, building technique right there. So the head of the AT-AT, this is realistically where the AT-AT driver sits, right in there, has 4 gun little replicas that look really good, I think. And then for printed pieces, no stickers, we have this printed cockpit dashboard right here, and then we have the windshield, if you will, of the cockpit right here. Overall, I think it looks very, very good for the amount of pieces that this took to really capture and really capture the look of the AT-AT. They did a really good job. I really like this for the size. It's a nice little background. You could have maybe 4 of them rather than spending the like $160 again for the bigger one. But yeah, no, this is a really good little build right here. There's very little underneath stud action unless you look underneath the belly of the AT-AT, but that's not really how you'll have this thing posed. Lots of range of motion on the head. I have very little complaints about this one right here. I think that this is a great little microfighter build. I guess maybe the only thing that one could complain about is a lot of times with vehicles or any type of transport that comes with a figure, there's a little clip somewhere that you can store the extra gun or the binoculars. The Tauntaun has that, but this particular one does not, which is fine. That's not the end of the world. But seriously, almost no complaints for, like I said, about 100 pieces, give or take, AT-AT build. They really nailed it. They did a really good job of this. No gaps. It looks really good. So now we're going to be looking at the Tauntaun half of this microfighter set. Just to compare it to the AT-AT a little bit, some things that this microfighter has that the other one doesn't is right here you can see is some clips to hold Luke's blaster and his binoculars. I'll actually take those off so we can get some better viewing of the microfighter, if you will. And then another thing is Luke's actually being held on by some studs, unlike the AT-AT where he just kind of sits into that cockpit, and just like the AT-AT driver, for now I'll put Luke over there because we'll look at him more in depth. But yeah, let's just look at this Tauntaun here. It's got its little arms that you can move up and down. No really motion at all in the legs or the head, which is fine. It's more of supposed to be, I think, a stationary, solid display piece. I mean, there is some tail movement, which is nice. It gives you a little bit of extra mobility. This is a very soft, these reins here are a very soft rubber material, which I kind of like, because that way you can maybe bend them a little bit, stretch them. I'm sure they fit into Luke's hands. I haven't tried personally myself, but you can just tell it that they're meant to do that. Little arms. These little horn pieces right here are highly detailed. That's a great addition. I actually use my little pointer. Right here, you got the eyes, which I really like. The feet, they do a good job. They look a little big. You know, they're about the size of the head, but it's really about how to make this thing nice and sturdy. This is 2 feet on the ground. It's not moving. Again, we got the little saddle here, which I like. Luke stays in nice and tight on those 2 studs. We got the little supply canvas roll-up sack on the back of the saddle. Gives it a really nice look. And overall, I just think that this is a very good little microfighter. I know it's a microfighter, but say you have the bigger version of the AT-AT, like the $160 one, or maybe even a bigger, older one. I think that this right here wouldn't look terrible on a Hoth Lego display. If you have a bunch of those, maybe a few of the snow speeder bikes or anything Hoth related, if you had this next to it, this isn't a terrible 1-to-1 scale. Just to give you some comparison here. See, this is about how big a Tauntaun would be, give or take. So it's actually kind of nice to get something that is almost realistically scaled in these microfighter sets, just like in the Tatooine with the T-16 in the Bantha. The Bantha was almost a 1-to-1 scale, which is nice. So the animals, the riding on animals, they typically are 1-to-1 scale, which I personally am a fan of. But overall, this is a great build. Again, you got really good detail in the face here. You can clearly tell this is the mouth area, the eyes, the horns, the ears, the little arms, the legs. Big feet, but it helps them stay sturdy. Some tail wiggle here. Some clips on the saddle. Some studs to keep Luke nice in place. The reins, again. This is just a really good little build here. Again, 100 pieces. They used a lot of these curved pieces right here. These curved features. Like you see this piece right here is also curved. Under here is curved. It's a good way to capture a biological animal. It's not a machine. You don't want to see a lot of hard edges, hard straight edges, but they do a really good job, I think, for what it is to really make this look like a Tauntaun. So I will give you guys a closer look at these figures with their accessories. Just put this little guy back together. See, just like that, everything clips in nice and sound. It's easy. Now you have Luke right here riding this Tauntaun he's ready to go. All right, so yeah, let's just take a closer look at these minifigs and then we'll move on. Okay, so the first figure we're going to be looking at here is the AT-AT driver, which even from when I was a kid, I thought was always one of the coolest looking Imperial stormtrooper or pilot looks. Let's give you a closer look at the detail on this guy. We got some really good paintwork on the back. No arm printing on the sides or no side leg printing. We got his front torso area that had some pretty good paint. Into the front of the legs, which has some paint. The gray hands. Really good helmet here. I really like this helmet. And overall, I think this is a really good looking figure. I like the dark bluish gray here mixed in with the gray. I think it's actually a really good, crisp representation of the AT-AT pilot or AT-AT driver. Here's a look at him with his helmet off. It's just a typical stern-faced man look. We've seen this before in a lot of different Lego figures throughout the recent months or years, or if you will. There's no double face here, which is a lot of times they will include a secondary face, but the chances of you displaying this character, or this minifig actually, with its helmet off are very slim, so it's nice that they at least included a face. So yeah, this is what he looks like without his helmet. Just to compare real quick, put that helmet right back on. There we go. So yeah, overall, it's a really good figure. Okay, so here's the figure again with its accessories. We have right here is binoculars, which I always liked this little binocular setup that they include with some of these Lego Star Wars things. I think they look pretty futuristic, pretty accurate to the binoculars you'd see actually in the movies of Star Wars. I'm not sure if they include these binoculars for other sets, like if they had like a regular safari Lego set or something like that. If these are the binoculars that they include, or if they actually give you a more lifelike binocular, but I love this mold right here for Star Wars stuff. And then here's the blaster I was talking about. It has a stud shooter, so you just press this little gray tab, the stud will shoot right out. Just like that. Let me put that stud back in before it goes missing forever. So I'm not joking when I say I actually lost the stud that I just shot out. First time I've ever shot in that, and it's just gone. The stud's gone. Either way, that brings me to the point of I do not like these blasters. I don't understand why Lego has been giving them to us. I guess it increases the playability of the set, But we have seen, for example, this Stormtrooper right here with a regular looking blaster. It looks really good, I think. Pretty accurate to the movies, as well as Lego can, especially for a minifig. These are pretty hard to get super accurate. But I think this right here, this looking blaster, looks a hell of a lot better than this thing. Like I said, I get it. It's for playability. These are made for kids. I think the box says like 6 and up. So I get it. But I shot this once. I lost the stud. I'm sure it's on my desk somewhere. Maybe it's on the floor. But I don't understand why they do it. I don't think that they look all that great. It's Lego, so again, maybe I'm being a little bit too picky. You can tell it's a blaster. It shoots like a blaster. It does its job. It's fine. But I just wanted to compare to the Stormtrooper and show that we do know that Lego can produce a slightly more accurate looking blaster, which is, I would always prefer them over these stud shooters, but that's just how it goes. Typically, you only really get these stud shooters in the more play sets, like Microfighter sets, smaller sets. If you were to buy a big, especially like an Ultimate Collector's Series set, or even a set that's closer to the $100 range, they're most likely not going to give you one of these. They'll give you the better looking blasters. But overall, guys, I really, this is one of my favorite minifigures, especially from the Empire standpoint, that we've gotten in a long time. There's a little bit of helmet gap here, which we saw in the TIE Fighter pilot as well that was released this year. So maybe it's just the mold. It's not that big of a deal. I think it looks great from the front. You see a little bit of skin in the back. That's really not a deal breaker for me. But all in all, I think this is a great minifig. And yeah, no, this really excites me. The paint's great on it and all the details. The only issue is just this blaster. Okay, guys, so now we're going to be looking at the Luke Skywalker Hoth figure that, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is exclusive to this set and this set only as of now. There are other Luke Skywalker Hoth figures, but this is the first one. There's a new print or paint on the actual torso and legs than there was before. It's like updated, if you will. And yeah, this is a great minifig. So we got his little helmet here, which I'll show you in a second. These drop down and can cover his face. Again, we got his Hoth vest, his winter coat here with his snow pants on. We'll twist them around here, show you the back. There is printing on the back, as you can tell. Not much leg back. There's never any printing on the back of the legs. Side leg printing, there's none. Side of the arm printing, there's none. The biggest issue I have with this figure, other than the blaster he comes with, is how you can see a little bit of his secondary face here, but looks great from this angle. I won't lie, it looks great from this angle. You turn him around, and that's a little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. Here's Luke with his goggles on. They are massive on his face, but he does wear them at one point. So if you want to have him look like that while riding on the Tauntaun, by all means, you can. Go for it. Alright, so accessory 1. We got his lightsaber. It's a really good lightsaber. There's no air bubbles in it or anything like that from what I can see. Typical Lego Star Wars hilt, which is fine. They include those for all of them. Just a standard blue lightsaber, which is great. You need to have a Luke Skywalker with a lightsaber. If you don't include a lightsaber with Luke Skywalker, that's a big mistake. So everything on this accessory is fine with me. Alright, here are the other 2 accessories that come with this minifigure. We got the white binoculars, which I like how they gave us gray for the AT-AT driver, white for Luke. It's a little bit more movie accurate. Then we got the other stud shooting blaster, which I could do without, like I mentioned before, but at this point, Luke does still carry around a blaster. He really doesn't stop using the blaster until Return of the Jedi. So he would have a blaster on him. I like how they included it. The binoculars, there's a scene where he uses the binoculars on Hoth. So it's all stuff that you want with the minifig. 3 accessories for a minifig. Very good. Really no complaints there. Again, I love the binocular molds. This is fine. I'm just kind of complaining to just compare. Like these are fine. I'm not like, this doesn't make the minifig worthless to me or anything like that, this blaster, but they could do better. But yeah, no, this is really all you could ask for a Hoth version of Luke Skywalker. All right, guys, so there you have it. Again, this was LEGO Star Wars set 75298, which is the AT-AT and Tauntaun Microfighter set. These Microfighter sets, if there's two pieces, usually have one character from one side, another character from the other side. Usually there's only one in the Microfighters, but I like the ones that come with two. Great value. Over 200 pieces, under $20. Can't go wrong. Two great minifigs, the AT-AT driver, which is one of my favorite Empire looks. I thought that they nailed it. Luke Skywalker on Hoth, a brand new figure. Brand new for this set. Great figure. And yeah, again, I haven't done anything too crazy yet with LEGO Star Wars on the channel. I haven't done any big multiple 100-piece set that's supposed to be like a ship or a scene or anything like that. I've only done small little 200-piece play sets or these microfighter builds. But it's still amazing what LEGO can do with such a small amount of pieces. This is, I think, a very good looking AT-AT for the size and the amount of pieces. And then this is almost a perfectly scaled Tauntaun that, like I said many times in this video, you can put with an actual Hoth display and make it look like it belongs there. So overall, guys, I think this is a great set. I had a lot of fun building it. I have a lot of fun reviewing it. Two great figures. Hoth is one of the major things from the original trilogy. It's one of the most iconic things from the entire trilogy. So, yeah, you really can't go wrong here. We got lots of great accessories. And overall, I think this was definitely worth the buy. So hopefully you guys know a little bit more about this set. Maybe you guys are interested in going out and purchasing it yourself, or maybe this video made you realize this isn't what you're looking for in Legos, so you want to avoid it. Either way, I hope that you got some knowledge from this. Speaking of the larger sets, I do have a very large, it's not very large, but it's the new Imperial shuttle that I want to do soon. I have a very special and cool build that you get from the LEGO store from May the 4th promotions that I got on May the 4th. I've just been holding on to it. I want to build that for you guys too. And then on top of that, I still have my Dragon Ball Z SH figure arts I can go into. I have a few more Japanese booster boxes I want to open up on the channel. So there's a lot coming. But for this set right here, LEGO Star Wars 75298, I'm very pleased. I think they did a great job, and they really did everything they could and should do with something this small. Two great minifigs, two great small builds. Can't ask for anything else. So alright guys, thanks for coming by. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Have a good day.